Yeah, what a privilege to welcome Jack to this event. And Jack has over 20 years experience in the tech industry, leads BCG's strategic partner ecosystem and programs there. I've seen him excel in really advising and crafting business strategies for alliance relationships, not only for himself but in advisory capacity to his clients and optimizing their larger value networks, if you will. And it's not just the larger ecosystem strategy, but he and his team have been helping with business opportunities, commercial models, deals, and ensuring partnering success all around. So Jack, we see your success all around. We just played a video from AWS and BCG partnership. Julia Chen, who was previously on this show a couple of episodes back, is a key proponent of this collaborative innovation and co-selling process, as you know. So warm welcome, Jack. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here. And yeah, I love that video. It was such a great example of how we collaborate not only with AWS but how we run our program. And yeah, thank you for having me. I love that you're bringing this community together, and thank you to everyone who advances and evolves our line of work. It's great to be here with you.
Jack, so that's on the professional side. On the can you tell us something about you that few people know?
That's always a dangerous proposition, but sure. Something that I always go back to is this notion of being born and raised in Alaska, and I still think that's a fairly small population of folks that can say that. And growing up there, you have a unique set of experiences that have shaped me and still are a big part of who I am today. But if you catch me in the off season, one of the things I love to talk about was still to this day one of my favorite jobs in the summer, which was working for a major cruise company as a first mate on the Inside Passage. Just, again, one of the best experiences I've ever had, and one of those things I wish I could go back to time and again.
Fantastic. So I'm planning an Alaska trip. I'm sure going to ask for some advice on what to do there. Now, I've been following the BCG thought leadership around ecosystems for a while. You have a tremendous body of work. Our team will post the link on your entire ecosystem thought leadership. You've kind of explored up and down on the strategy in terms of how does it help you with resilience? How does it help you be successful at it? How does it avoid failures? But, I'm very interested in hearing about your perspective on this research, and how do you think about this?
Yeah, I think there's a lot there. I love the comment earlier in your session about this notion, or I think generally agreement about clients at the center. And I would say that has always been a core of how we shape our strategy, our tactics, and ultimately drive the outcomes around our partnerships as well. But of course, BCG is known for our extensive research, and we're super close to that. The teams that develop that and often are contributing to it, as well as you mentioned sort of the work that we do on how we advise clients on how to work with ecosystems and why ecosystems are important, and the fact that ecosystems are really more of an essential element that they probably ever have been at any time in the past. Probably a very familiar reference point for folks on this call, but worth just acknowledging that these are an essential element. Many of the conversations I'm having across our team support that notion, and this idea that developing ecosystems and building successful partnerships is now a core enterprise competency. Again, not something nice to have. I think with today's sort of geopolitical, economic, and other challenges that we face, as I look through our research and the conversations that we're having and the kinds of work that we're doing and even how we're engaging our ecosystem, it seems fairly consistent that even during these uncertain times, building ecosystems and the resilience and the unlock of new opportunities, as well as competitive advantage that comes along with that, advantages those who do that, and they will come out ahead. And that's consistent whether we're looking at technology or other industries. We're doing work across consumer, oil and gas, energy, industrial goods, and of course technology, and that's a consistent theme. I think it's even reinforced with some research I was looking through last year, or even years past, as we were designing what we were doing and pointing in the right direction. I think in back in 2021, IDC did some research that suggested by 2023, 90% of enterprises would be looking at partnerships in some form or fashion.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that really gets to the notion of the BCG of today looks very, very different than it did 5 to 7, even 10 years ago, certainly. And capabilities that Julia mentioned, whether it's X or TDA or technology and digital advantage teams, enable us to really look at across our partner ecosystem, excel at the advantages that provides us and the insights that comes along with it, and serve clients in ways that they expect, and certainly in some cases never imagined that BCG would do so. And I look at our core team charter as a partnerships team across BCG, making it easy, efficient, effective, and safe for BCG to work with third parties, regardless of where they're coming from. So it was a bit of a long-winded answer, but hopefully I got to your point there that you were looking
Absolutely.
for.
No, absolutely. And I think I just asked our team to post a link of this research. Definitely consume it. I'm a voracious reader for that. Now, let's apply this back to BCG, right? You mentioned a little bit in your answer there, but can you elaborate a little bit on how you, as a leader for the ecosystem team at BCG, how do you apply this learning to yourself?
Yeah, well, I think and I think maybe we have a question here coming down too a little bit, but for us, I really look at this notion of building a diverse set of value exchanges across our teams as arguably the most important thing that we do every day. And in a diversity of value exchange for us really comes down to 4 things. We will, of course, commercially collaborate with our partners in our ecosystem. We will build new offerings. And then beyond that, how do we round that out to really make sure that the strategy and tactics and outcomes we're driving are mutually reinforced across our program? We spend a lot of time on talent development, making sure that we can retain, acquire, and grow our tech and digital talent around these relationships, if we're talking about the tech industry in particular, and then brand building with these companies, right? It's incredibly important for us to be thoughtful about how, when, and where we show up in the market around certain topics and opportunities. And so that diversity of value exchange drives how we organize our team and how we execute with our partnerships.
Fantastic. Now, if I look at your success rate, your team success rate, executing these large partnerships, for example, with AWS and with SAP, and I see each and every partnership that you've done, tremendous success there. But at the same time, there's an elephant in the room, if you will. Partnerships do fail. There's stats out there that say 60% of all partnerships will fail as they don't connect strategy to execution. What can we talk about what your learnings in this space is? Why do partnerships fail?
Wow, it is the elephant in the room, oftentimes. And I would say, a lot of the research that BCG has done even suggests that it's a much higher percentage of partnerships that fail. But certainly 60 is not a good number, but it's a realistic number. But I think our research suggests that even upwards of 85% of partner ecosystem efforts fail. And when you just looking at the hard dollars at risk there, it's billions in lost investments, certainly. So it's an expensive, it's an expensive endeavor. It takes a long time to get partnerships right, to find the right ones and then operate them. And 85% of them fail. And actually, as I was going on our journey at BCG five plus years ago, I kept that research constantly at my side to make sure that we were reminding ourselves and our teams that, in fact, if we are going to succeed, we will be the exception, right? And so we need to be exceptional to make sure that we're not that exception. But I think that often the failure comes down to a few reasons, including things like configuration and design, maybe an inefficient market opportunity and alignment to it, or both. Governance challenge. Let's see, bad execution can be simply, a result, a reason for failing. But it seems to me, both in my personal experience, personal and professional experience, as well as our research, that the majority of those fail due to weakness in the design and execution.
So essentially the advice is look for steady design of the ecosystem itself, that there's enough economic opportunity and you've designed the ecosystem architecture in the right way. And then making sure that the strategy is connected to execution in empowered ways that actually drive success to this. And how important is measurability to something like this? So if you don't measure, you don't even know it failed, right?
Yeah, well, you can't improve where you don't measure, I always
Right.
say, and I'm sure that's not my saying. I picked it up somewhere along my journey. Or the other one that is popular is people respect what you inspect, right? And I think that if you can't put measurement on the things you're doing, you're probably, you're going to have trouble at some point because somebody will ask, right? Especially as you look to grow and scale something within any organization, you have to be able to point to the results. For us, we look at around that diversity of value exchange. It enables us to report on a number of things that are important to us and mutually reinforcing. And then we can also look at, what are the inbound investments from our partner ecosystem that are enabling BCG, for example, on the talent side, to really, outpace and bring insights and opportunities to our clients through those relationships that we wouldn't have had access to otherwise.
Fantastic. Now, we've also seen ecosystems actually approach benefit some of the unsolvable or hard problems that we see, or the biggest opportunities and challenges we as a society or we as an industry face. So, what are some challenges and opportunities where you feel like you have or BCG has applied itself really well?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think how much time do we have left? Because we could spend a long time on this one.
Right.
I think it's this notion of creating diverse value exchanges and broadening capabilities as well as opportunities through and with them is core. And we talk often about sort of the client expectations are driving a lot of the evolution, and even just this notion of why we build a partner ecosystem in the first place. Clients expect something different today. You hit on it in your session, and we see it every single day. It's not enough to be just the leader in people and process transformation. We need to bring those platforms in, or the technology partnerships, in order to combine that with the process and the people and strategy transformation that all of our clients are expecting. And so that has been a key for us. It's how we organize our team, and it's how we engage our partners in our ecosystem. But that's really at the core.
Yeah, Jack, can you take one or two examples for us? Like what are some good examples in your experience here?
Yeah, well, I think Julia referenced one. We're working with a global pharma company. We publicly available references if you go to bcg.com, or work with another major automotive manufacturer. But also you can look at releases we've done over time with offering development with Microsoft, with Google, and others. And I think those are really, really tangible examples. BCG tends to be fairly reserved about how we talk about the work that we're doing with clients. That's in good measure, but I think more and more you're seeing the public reference of or out in the public domain, the things that we're doing around all of those elements. Probably less so on the talent development side. That's a lot less interesting for folks, but certainly around our commercial collaboration, our brand building opportunities, which are the manifestation of that. And then more importantly, or equally importantly, some of the work we're doing around offering development, bringing innovation and insights to our clients that we may not have if we didn't have these relationships with leading companies in the technology and services
Absolutely.
space.
Really a big fan of the initiatives that you've driven in the sustainability space through partnerships, and also in the AI space with partnerships. So kudos and our congrats.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
I want to invite people to you posted questions here. While you take time to post these questions, I just want to ask one last thing, Jack, of you. What advice would you have to aspiring partnership leaders as they're exploring either this career opportunity or actually rising within the partnering profession as well?
Wow. Well, one, I would say stay interested. Well, let me take a step back on that. Actually, I think it'd be somewhat cliche to say, be bold, take chances, experiment, fail fast. I think those are all relatively, table stakes items at this point in today's world. I think I'd probably focus on four core things here. I'll touch on these just briefly, and happy to take Q&A about these as well, given my experiences in this space. And by the way, it's amazing to see. I was looking through the chat while you were presenting too, and there's just so many friends and former colleagues in this audience today. I'm sure many of you share these experiences, so I'm looking forward to actually reconnecting with many of you here. But I think first and foremost, get into it for the right reasons. Those who have been in this line of work for any length of time have thick skin, scars, and probably exercise more patience than we care to admit on any given day. But wake up with that excitement of the diversity of opportunities and audiences that you get to engage every single day. That's got to be at the core. I'd say commit to the cause. Good partnerships are hard to find, and they're hard to operate consistently and at scale. Have a solid vision and a mission, and inspire others that want to join you on that journey. Work for great people that enable and inspire you to bring into your best. Put yourself in the other person's chair more often than you think. I think empathy goes a long way towards building good relationships that stand the test of time and challenging times. And then last but not least, I tell this to my team as much as I possibly can, and I try to live it too. Work on the business as much as you do in it. Pick your head up, look around, make sure you're going in the right direction, take measure in the things that are happening and the people around you, and be comfortable with course correction.
Awesome. Chip, I want to bring you back in. Can we curate the questions from the community and let's pose it to Jack?
Yeah, I had a great question here from Patrick Svenberg. How long does it realistically take to create a successful technology partnership in the tech space? How much runway should we have? Interesting.
Oh boy. Well, there's a lot of, are we taking questions right now? Yes.
Yeah.
I would say there's a lot of variables, but in general, I think in order to set the direction, the tone, and the pace of what you want to see, it depends on what you call success in your ecosystem. You may not share the same metrics we do, but I would say it's going to, if you're not investing for 2 to 3 years in that window of time to see the kind of scaled results you're looking for, you're probably underestimating. That's my take on it. It can take longer, but I think that's a good sort of average window.
Great. Another good question here from Debika Sharma. What does great ecosystem design look like for early stage technology companies? It's a good one.
Wow, that is a great one. Well, there's 1,000 ways to answer that question, but my theory about that is if you're standing up something new in a brand new organization, deliver incredible and immense value in short, medium, and long-term sprints, so that when you go back and ask for headcount growth or investment, the response is usually, why haven't you asked me sooner, versus, are you sure you need that? And that's a sort of, almost cliche thing to say, but I do think that focusing small, keep your core really tight, build an incredible culture in your team that is focused on results-driven outcomes, and you could build a clear vision around what success looks like, execute relentlessly, and then move on.
Awesome. Great answer. And the last one actually isn't a question, but a comment. So this was Sean Taylor posted on LinkedIn and said, great 4 points. Thanks for netting those out. So.
Oh, thank you.
There are a few more that we didn't get to. Chip, do you want to ask one last one, or should we post that in a blog?
Well, we could do one last one. Here is from Ace Thrombly. Hi, Jack. There are so many directions that partner ecosystems can focus on for innovation and scale, Gen AI, marketplaces, etc. Where should partners prioritize investing time?
Ooh, can you give me that? I want to make sure I heard all of that right. Can you give me that real quick, Chip?
So many directions around ecosystems for innovation and scale. He uses these examples, Gen AI and marketplaces. Where should partners invest time and prioritize?
Given the current macro, right?
Yeah. Wow. Okay. I'd probably orient towards a more practical sort of response there outside of the current economic conditions. And I think these probably hold true whether it's good or bad times. But there's 3 things I would say have to be in place when you're establishing a partnership if it's going to be successful. 1, you have to be working with the right company. That can come down to a matter of topical opportunity, market presence, geopolitical risk, financial risk, opportunity. All kinds of things go into making the right company for whoever you are, or whatever firm you're running. Second is you have to know what makes you great together, or at least have a pretty good sense of what that looks like and how you can execute against it. And you have to have the right people around that to be able to form and shape and execute it. And then last but not least, make sure you have a clear home for that relationship. There's not a single partnership that we establish that doesn't have a core sort of center of the universe in a practice area or in a part of BCG that owns and operates that with alongside and with us. And I think those are, again, whether it's good times or bad, if those three things are in place, you've got the right people around it, you're going to be successful. Whether it's an AI topic, whether it's a workforce productivity topic, cybersecurity, cloud transformation, take your pick. I think those are foundational elements.
Awesome, Jack. Thank you so much for spending time with us and the community and graciously answering the questions. We will likely have you back in about a year's time to see how the ecosystem progress is going at BCG. So stay tuned.